Hey everyone, Dan at Bushcraft. Well, I am out here today testing my new Architect Knives AK 6.5. Now for the past year, I've been carrying the AK 5.5 and I have absolutely come to love it. It had quickly become my favorite knife. And today, for the first time, I'm testing out the 6.5. I really like the 5.5 a lot. It goes great with my hatchet and with my saw. The one area that I would like to try something a little bigger is if I'm out on a scout and I decide I want to travel as light as possible, just a basic survival kit, leave my hatchet and my saw behind and just take a knife. Then I want something a little more stout, a little more weight in the front for chopping, and I believe the 6.5 is going to do the trick. So if you watched my channel, you know I'm a huge fan of Architect knives. In fact, I've said they're the official knife of Bushcraft. The 6.5, you have a blade that's basically 6.5 inches long. I can't remember the exact thickness off the top of my head, but you can go on their site and look up all the specs. In my last video, you saw me put a 90-degree spine on it, so it is ready for starting a fire. And if you go on the Architect Knives website, if you've never been there, basically you build your own knife. You choose your steel. I'm a 1095 guy, so this is the traditional 1095 carbon steel. Then you choose your handles. Do you want micarta? Do you want G10? I went with what they call the double red canvas micarta, something I've never done. After that, you choose your sheath and whatever other features you want. So let me grab that off my belt for you. Okay, you also design your own sheath. There's a wide variety of choices from leather to kydex and different attachment options. What I do pretty much on all my knives is I like to do a kydex sheath. These are very heavy duty with a lock right here to lock your blade in. So the blade snaps right in, and then you can pull this up and lock it into place if you want. Pops right out with a little effort from your thumb. So it's in and out, quick and easy. I chose a leather backer with a fire steel loop. You can get with or without the fire steel loop. And then a leather dangler. So this attaches to my belt. And then using my finger, I just push that in and slide this right off and on. Leave this part on my belt. And then I can hang the rest of it from a tree or whatever I would like. So one of the things that I see they've changed a little bit from my AK 5.5 is my old dangler, you have to slide in the belt to get it on and off. This one has snaps, so I don't have to undo my belt. I can just snap it right on my belt. So that's pretty cool. And of course I added the leg tie down. And another thing I add is I add a very small finger lanyard. This is for my own protection when I'm chopping. I just make it to where it grabs my pinky and then my hand will not reach the blade. So if my hand slips, I cannot get my hand to the blade and cut it. So this is just for safety. Whenever I'm chopping, I will loop up my finger. And like I said, and then if my hand were to slip up, so that's as far as it can go. I'll never have been cut, hopefully never will. All right, let's start field testing this thing. Okay, in a survival situation out here, one of the first things that I would want to do if I was out on a hike in weather like this and I got stuck was a shelter. So the little bit of extra weight and heft to the 6.5 should make it an excellent chopper for getting boughs down. So I'm in fir country. I would want a bunch of boughs down as quick as I could to put up maybe a lean-to and a bunch underneath me to insulate me from the snow. So try to get where you guys can see here. So one chop, took that one off. All right, let's delimb this. Look at that. Wow, that's better than I thought it would be by far. Nice. Yeah, that is actually much better than I thought it would be. Just delimbing those right through several of them with one single chop. That's nice. So, big old fir tree behind me. Emergency situation. I need a bunch of fir boughs. I'm gonna have my pile in a few minutes with this. And by the way, shaving sharp out of the box. See where you should be able to see right there. Oh yeah, look at that. There's a little thicker right there. No problem. Put a little more effort into it. All right. Yeah. So I need to point a stick for something. I'm going to choke up on that a little bit. So I got the finger choil. I moved my finger up into the choil. I had to undo my finger from the lanyard to do that, but I'm no longer chopping. That's nice. That is really nice. That did a great job. Let's chop that and make a tent stake. Have to go get it. Okay. So if I was going to make a tent stake, try to put that where you guys can see. I didn't grab a baton. If I need one, I will. Let's see if I can work that down in there enough. There's my glove. So yeah, making something like a tent stake. What a nice carver. Trying to keep it where you guys can see. Okay. So that would give me the start of a very crooked tent stake. Perfect. Look at that. One more. Okay, and then we'll just square off the end. And we're ready to go. I've got a small tarp with me if I wanted to use that instead of these tree boughs. There's tent stake number one. I mean, this thing just feels great in the hand for carving. You guys can see that. I can take off big pieces if I want, and if I want small stuff, maybe I'm trying to be more intricate with something I'm carving. Nice. So by the way, this has a high saber grind, which is my personal favorite. You know what, it's very personal. A lot of guys like Scandi, some like the flat grind like on Essie's. My favorite has always been the high saber out here. I've tried them all, and so it just fits perfectly to be using an architect knife like this with the high saber grind. Very nice. So fantastic carver, fantastic for chopping small stuff. Let's try something else here. Okay, I got my bandana out. I want to make some fine shavings and curls to get a fire going. And my bandana is going to sit right here at the edge of the blade so it can catch whatever I make. So there, I can make nice thick ones if I want to hold the flame a little longer. Let's see if I can get some small stuff. There we go. So I'm making me a little pile of fine curls in my bandana. So I've got me a nice little pile started right down in here. So you guys can see. And then, of course, I got some sitting right here on the stick. So for getting me a nice pile of those for a fire, no problem. Make a couple thicker ones there. Hold the flame a little longer. A bunch more small ones. Very nice. So I got some small ones down in there. I got some medium-sized ones here. Perfect. And I deliberately cut a couple thicker ones so that when the little ones start burning, this will hold a flame for a little bit longer. Now, normally I would transport that over to where I'm going to have a fire, but I'm not at that location yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and set up a little spot here on top of this stump, just to make a little fire for you guys. Okay, last thing we need is using that 90-degree spine. I want to get some fine fat wood scrapings off there that will catch a spark. So, show you there, that's what I'm doing. Using that 90-degree spine, now I'm making the really, really fine stuff that's going to catch the spark. So we'll put some of them right on the top, down in the back. Oops, just about knocked my whole pile over. That wasn't good. Okay, I'm gonna make a few more since I knocked some of those off there. All right, this time let's not knock everything over. As I've mentioned before, guys, I don't edit my videos. You see people doing perfectly out here on their videos, and sometimes things do go perfect, but sometimes they don't. And so if I have trouble starting a fire or making shavings or whatever, I don't edit out the mistakes or the rough parts. I leave it all in because that's reality. Okay, let's see if that will take off. Got my ferro rod. I won't use my striker. I'll use the back of the knife. And like I said, oh, did we have, oh, we almost had it. We had one start to burn. And this one is going to give me a little trouble. So what I'm going to do is make some more fine shavings and put those down in there and we'll give it another shot. Okay, I doubled the amount of shavings that I got up on top. Let's see if that makes a difference. If not, I got a backup technique with my ferro rod, actually 2 backup techniques that we can go to. Okay, so one of those techniques is I'm going to take my scraper and I'm going to make some fine shavings down in there off the ferro rod. Trying not to spark them. So I'm making some fine shavings that are dropping down in there, deliberately trying not to spark it. Okay, let's see if that'll catch. All right. Come on now, 3rd time's the charm. There we go, there we go. Look at that, finally. Nice. So, like I said, everything doesn't always go smoothly, but there are other things you can do, even with your ferro rod. I took and scraped some fine shavings off the rod down there, and those rods took the spark, and that spark ignited my curls and shavings. Now, it's been snowing out here for months, and we've had some warm days where it's rained on top of the snow. So even these pieces of fat wood that I have just have a slight amount of dampness in them, enough where I had to use a little bit of a different technique to get it going. So that's a lesson for you guys. If you're having trouble because your material's damp, you can take the back of your knife or your scraper and just go real slow, push very hard, and try to get just a little tiny pile of shavings off the ferro rod down in there. And then when you hit those with the spark, they will burn. All right, let's try a little batoning and see what happens. Not something that I would normally use a knife for, but in case of emergency. I got a pack of coyotes howling, if you guys can hear them, behind the camera on that way. And I got 2 bull elk on the hillside behind me. I didn't get a chance to get them on the camera, but they walked right across the hill behind me. Pretty cool. So, no problem whatsoever. If you needed to get into some wood to get some dry stuff out, and this was the only thing that you could do, it's going to baton just fine. Nice knot there. Good test. Going through that big old knot. Okay. And, oh yeah, still popping the hair right off. And that's just the factory edge. I haven't used my sharpener on it yet. The blade's a little dirty from starting the fire, but you just do a couple passes on your pant leg, and good as new. So there it is, guys, the Architect 6.5. You're going to see me use it. I'm going to be carrying this throughout the year. As I said, last year, my videos were all done with the AK 5.5. This year, my primary knife will be the 6.5. And so, especially when spring comes and I can start doing a lot more hiking, I'll be leaving my heavy pack behind, and I'll just be carrying my new chest rig. Stay tuned, because as we get closer to spring, we'll load that out. I've completely redone I call it my scout kit. when I go out on scouting, you know, day hikes and scouting new terrain, new territory. I like to rock climb a little bit out here and stuff. So I have completely redone my scouting kit, switched back to a Hill People Gear chest pack. That will be coming. And when I leave my hatchet and saw behind, this will be, it's not really my one tool option because there is a Swiss Army knife with an extra saw and everything in it in the chest pack. Plus I always have a knife in my pocket. But for a large tool, this will be pretty much my one big tool for everything. So you'll get to see me use the 6.5 in videos all throughout the rest of the winter, spring, summer, fall of 2025. So this was just kind of an initial test, an initial review. I absolutely love it. It does everything exactly like I expected that it would do. I carried the SE6 for years. I liked the Architect 5.5 better and switched over to it. And of course, I have got to put a lot of input into Architect knives on handle designs and some things with the blades and stuff. So, you know, that's one of the reasons I like the Architect knives. I'll admit I'm a little bit biased, but I can tell you from initial use, I think I'm going to like this even better than my 5.5 because of that extra heft. There's a coyote on the other hill, and I don't think my sound will pick it up, that has never stopped barking at me. Earlier there was more than one, but now there's one lone coyote. He's on the other side of the hill through all the trees back over there, so I can't quite see him. But he's never stopped barking at me. He's over there somewhere and he just keeps going bark, 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 yip, yip, yip. And I know he hears me. Interesting. Well, maybe I'll have a companion to hang out with. Dan at Ochiko Bushcraft, stay safe out there, guys. And as I said, don't think, hey, that's just it. I'd like to see it do more things. This knife will be what I'm using throughout the year. So when we are actually building shelters and getting some fires going and making carving projects and different things throughout the year, you're going to get to see this knife in action. Take care, everyone. Architect knives will be in the description for you who haven't seen them. Check out their site. It's very cool because you assemble the knife on the screen in front of you. Pick out whatever handle and change it around, turn the blade around, try it with different setups until you get the one you like. And then when you order it, it comes to you basically as a kit and you assemble it. Take care, everybody.